He thought it was just another day on duty. She thought it was just another trip across town. But when their paths crossed, everything changed. A police officer saw her skin before he saw her humanity. And what happened next shocked everyone in the room. He laughed. He mocked. He tried to strip her of dignity. But what he didn't know was that the woman standing before him wasn't just anybody. She had a power he could never imagine. And when the truth came out, the entire room fell silent. Her name was Maya. To most, she looked like just another woman going about her day, but those who knew her understood she carried a quiet strength wherever she went. A highly respected professional, she had worked her way up with discipline and grace, never forgetting where she came from. On this day, she was dressed simply, without the markers of her position or authority, just another face in the crowd. She was used to being underestimated. Years of whispers, side glances, and unspoken judgments had taught her how to carry herself with dignity, but nothing could prepare her for the moment ahead. The police officer who stood in her path didn't see her as the accomplished leader she was. He saw only her skin, only the prejudices shaped long before she walked into that space. Maya didn't know it yet, but this encounter would not only test her patience, it would reveal a truth so powerful, it would leave an entire room frozen in disbelief. Maya walked into the courthouse lobby, the weight of the morning heavy but her posture steady. She wasn't there in any official capacity, just to observe proceedings, blending in with the hum of clerks, lawyers, and families passing through the metal detectors. But as she made her way to the security checkpoint, she felt it, the eyes of the officer stationed there, watching her with a cold, dismissive stare. He motioned for her to stop, his tone sharp, laced with irritation rather than professionalism. Bags searched longer than necessary. Questions repeated as if her answers weren't good enough. Others passed through with ease, yet Maya stood there, held up, scrutinized, as if she were a suspect instead of a citizen exercising her right to be present. The smirk on his face wasn't hidden. To him, she was just another black woman who didn't belong. As she entered the courtroom, the humiliation lingered. But it didn't end there. The officer followed inside, whispering to a colleague, pointing her out, laughing under his breath as though her presence was a joke. The echo of their chuckles bounced off the marble walls, making the space feel colder, heavier. She tried to steady herself, but every glance, every dismissive gesture piled onto the years of quiet indignities she had endured. This wasn't new, but in that moment it was painfully sharp, designed to strip her of dignity. And the worst part? Everyone else pretended not to notice. Eyes darted away. Silence filled the gaps where outrage should have been. But Maya wasn't the kind of woman to bow under weight. She sat, composed, while the officer lingered near the back, still mocking, still blind to the storm about to break. Because what he didn't know, and what the entire room would soon discover, was that Maya wasn't just another face in the gallery. She wasn't powerless, and when the truth came to light, the laughter that filled that room would vanish in an instant. The courtroom buzz quieted as the judge entered, and all eyes shifted forward. But before the proceedings could even begin, the officer who had mocked Maya leaned against the wall, smirking again, shaking his head as if her very presence was laughable. He whispered something crude to a colleague, loud enough for Maya to hear. It wasn't just disrespect. It was open mockery, in front of everyone, with the confidence of a man who believed he'd never be held accountable. Maya felt the sting of 1,000 moments like this one, compressed into the space of a heartbeat. She could have stayed silent, swallowed the humiliation the way so many before her had been forced to. But something inside her shifted. The room, the eyes, the weight of injustice. It all pushed her to stand. And then, in one swift moment, the air changed. The clerk called her name, not as an observer, not as a random face in the gallery, but with the authority of her true position. Every head turned. The officer's smirk froze. his color draining as reality set in. Maya wasn't just a woman sitting quietly in the back. She was his superior, the very authority he was supposed to respect. Gasps rippled through the courtroom. The mocking laughter died in an instant. The officer, once so loud, so confident, stood silent, his arrogance shattered under the weight of his own actions. He had mocked, humiliated, and dismissed the very person who now had the power to decide his future. And in that moment, as silence hung heavy in the room, one truth became undeniable. The tables had turned. The question now was, how would Maya use that power? Would she simply let his shame speak for itself? Or would she deliver the justice that so many had been denied? The silence that followed spoke louder than any verdict. The officer lowered his eyes, stripped not of his badge, but of the arrogance that had shielded him for so long. Maya didn't raise her voice, didn't humiliate him the way he had tried to humiliate her. She didn't need to. Her presence, her power, and the truth of who she was had already delivered the justice he never expected. But for Maya, the impact went beyond one man's shame. That moment was a reminder of the weight she carried, not just as a boss, not just as a woman of authority, but as a black woman navigating spaces where dignity was constantly challenged. She had turned mockery into silence, but she also knew that for every courtroom where the truth was revealed, there were countless others where it was buried. Her story isn't just about a single officer who underestimated her. It's about a system where arrogance and racism still thrive, and where too many voices are silenced before they're ever heard. Maya walked away with her head high, but she also walked away with the knowledge that her fight, and the fight of so many others, was far from over. Because this wasn't just about one courtroom, it was about every space where someone's worth is questioned because of the color of their skin. And the question that lingers is this: how many more times will stories like Maya's need to happen before real change is made? The choice isn't hers alone. It's ours. To listen, to speak, to act,